Guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of August the 1st, 2024. The current character challenge is Earth 2 Hawkgirl. That is a 1-week repeat. The required characters for her are Flash, Solomon, Grundy, and Green Lantern, who you can all get as low as Bronze tier. Her passive is Concussive Blow, which means each special and combo ender has a 30% chance to stun an opponent, and Hawkgirl deals 100% more damage against stunned opponents, and an additional 25% for each Earth 2 teammate. She's got 1,400 attack, 1,300 health. Was last available earlier this year.
Oh, no, sorry, last year.
Sorry, last year.
Yeah.
So
almost a year ago.
Yeah.
Actually. Interesting.
That's true.
So she's got good high stats, 1,400, 1,300. Let's look at her passive. So stun on combo ender is okay. It's not great. Mainly because the percentage, the chance it's going to happen is too low. So if your basic tap combo is unblocked, I feel like you get a combo ender about half the time, which means you're only getting a stun on 30% of 50%, which is 15% of the time when you start a tap combo.
Yeah.
Not that great. All right. Getting it on a special is great, but 30% still not enough. I guess the only benefit really is that her damage is not reduced for having the effect because the effect is part of her passive. The fact that it stacks with her chance of stun on special 1 independently with her passive makes it better and better than the stun chance on special 1 of other Hawkgirl skins. The boosted damage against stunned opponents is great. Half the damage boost she would get if she had Cloak of Destiny or Necron Scythe on her own. And I mean, I love those gears for that one ability. I've said lots of times before how that one ability and nothing else makes both those gears super special.
Yeah, if she had consistency with stuns, with anything, even I think maybe up to her super, right? Because you could swap out. Mm-hmm. She would be a lot better.
Yeah. And with the extra benefit in her passive that Earth 2 teammates help, she can go from half the damage boost of Cloak of Destiny or Necron Scythe to 3/4 of that damage if she's on a full Earth 2 team, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Teaming her up with Earth 2 Flash is pretty great for the chance to stun on Tagans also. And with Cloak and Necron, all 3 Earth 2 teammates can have boosted stun damage, which is an interesting way to play it. So now we get to the meat of it, though. What you're watching is our attempt to make her the star of the team. And it's a little different than the last time we used her on a team when she had Earth 2 Flash and Hawkgirl as her teammates. We swapped out Earth 2 Flash for Rebirth Raven. And this is really, I think, a good demonstration of why Rebirth Raven really has a S tier. We removed Earth 2 Flash because as good as he was, he didn't do enough to improve Earth 2 Hawkgirl. And since we're demonstrating Earth 2 Hawkgirl as a star, the team overall is actually better with Rebirth Raven. So Earth 2 Flash's ability to give Earth 2 teammates a chance to stun a Tagan is a bit wasted on Earth 2 Hawkgirl when she's got Master's Death card, because the hits of Master's Death card when she tags in will unstun the opponent. And the rest of Earth 2 Flash's passive really only helps him. Right? So all of his attacks crit against stunned opponents. The time dilation, so opponents are slowed for 8 seconds. Doesn't really do anything. Doesn't move the needle for Earth 2 Hawkgirl.
Yeah.
Hawkgirl Prime has Astro Harness. Other gears don't really matter. She's mainly our tank. And one neat and slightly bad thing that only has a minor potential impact on the game is how both Earth 2 Flash and Earth 2 Hawkgirl can change the perspective of the game. Sometimes to the point that the fight is off screen. I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but when it does, it sort of spoils the fight, makes it really hard to fight. It can be quickly fixed, sometimes with a special, sometimes with a tag-in, but until it's fixed, you lose all the visual cues for when you need to attack, how to land a hit. An interesting thing with Earth 2 Hawkgirl too is that it looks like she suffers from the same problem that a lot of the late game challenge characters do, so that only her last hit can knock out the opponent. But when you play a bit more, you realize that's not entirely true. The first hit, it does very little damage, so it probably won't one hit knock out an opponent, but it can knock out someone who has very little remaining health left. And the following hits are kind of interesting too, right? So they happen so quickly that you will lose one or more of them on someone who revives, but you don't whiff on all of them. But they are definitely fast enough so that the gap between a revive for the timing of a revive for an opponent is clearly shorter than the timing of a tag in.
Yeah.
So that's kind of neat, actually. So that helps us discriminate that. And if you knock out the opponent before the last hit of her special 2, the hits come so quickly that most of the time she's still vulnerable to opponents who have a tag-in effect, like Rebirth Raven Stealing Power, tag-in stun from Luchador Bane, tag-in Gear Shatter from Earth 2 Solomon Grundy. So, and it doesn't happen all the time. Happens a lot, but not all the time. So we've got Claw of Horus on her, but if you swapped it out for Enchantress Companion Gear, that would be a way to protect her from that. So that's week 14 of this brand new Uncharted Territory challenge cycle. It's 14 weeks since the end of the 4-year repeating challenge cycle.
Yeah. There are, I think, 16 more missing challenge characters.
Yeah.
We expect one of them next week based off of the pattern, and the one that we're going to specifically guess is Yellow Lantern Hal Jordan based off of the store. This week's multiplayer reward is Cassandra Cain Batgirl. Her passive is Assassin's Ambush, which is on tag-in. Cassandra Cain attacks, causing opponent to lose 25% of current health. She's got 1,150 attack as her base stats and 950 health. She was last available the end of last year, December. It's been like years of the multiplayer reward cycle with no interruptions of the cycle, so we expect next week to be Soul Taker Sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's got lower stats, and along with Ares, she was one of the first multiplayer character rewards, and that's really why her stats seem so low now, because she was really pretty good when she was first released.
Yeah.
Interesting to note that her passive is just the one ability, unlike a lot of the newer multiplayer character rewards that have multiple abilities in their passives. 25% is a decent amount of health reduction, and it seems like a lot, but the key word in her passive is that it's current health and not maximum.
Yeah.
That means it's impossible to knock someone out with her passive, unlike, say, Teen Titans Raven, where we just played with her a few days ago in our Q&A. Teen Titans Raven's passive can knock someone out after her special completes, because it has a chance to steal 25% of max health.
And importantly, even if it couldn't knock them out, even if it was like damage over time where it would leave them at 1 health, it is good right at the start of a fight, but very quickly becomes not that useful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just not worth the time to like take advantage of it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's fun to sort of stack the tag and damage, give her Claw of Horus for another 10%. She's got really fast basics. When I play her, I feel like she's got faster basics than any of the other Batgirls. She's got the typical Batgirl special 1, where it's front loaded with a stun, with a low damage stun, so that the damage is back loaded, so that she gets a lot of mileage and benefit from using Cloak of Destiny or Necron Scythe.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, her passive breaks the tag and stun from the Cloak of Destiny, so it counts as a hit when she takes away 25% of the opponent's health. So if you stun with Cloak of Destiny, that unstuns them. So that's kind of wasted on her. So if you've got a team where someone else could also benefit from the cloak, use it on them instead and give Cassandra Cain Batgirl Necron Scythe.
Yeah. That's a pretty niche situation, though, I think.
Yeah. Now, because like the other Batgirls, though, because she has such a powerful special 1 when geared properly, and her passive reduces opponent's health down to 75% of the original amount, if you're going to make her special specialist, she doesn't need anything more than Tanti Totem to be the special specialist.
Yeah.
And so you get a secondary attacker to use Master's Death card. And the way we like to do it when we have a secondary character on the team for specials is give them Enchantress Companion Gear, Claw of Horus, and that secondary character is super effective at stripping gears off the opponent. And a great candidate would be, say, any of the Aquaman, and it's nice that the Aquamans are coming back into the rotation because they have a bleed on special 1, and not only can you stack the gear shattering, you can stack the bleed, so it gives you an out on a lot of the teams where they might be geared. They might have really high health, or they might be geared to take no damage. from regular attacks. So in spite of her having still very low stats, Cassandra Cain Batgirl, still pretty good and pretty relevant card. Her passive scales up to her opponent, even if it would be so much better to work on max health instead of just the current health.
Yeah, so there we go. Moving on to the store, we have the Yellow Lantern Hal Jordan Early Access Bundle. That is where we are sort of getting our guess from for what next week is going to be. It's $24.99 Canadian. All prices will be in Canadian dollars because that's the info we have. You're not going to say it's only the currency that...
It's the only currency that matters.
There we go. I see I messed up your line.
Yeah. Well, that's why I have to be the one to say it usually.
Yeah, exactly. And you believe it more strongly than I do.
It's true. There's nothing to believe.
So it comes with 100,000 power credits. It doesn't unlock a copy in your store. This is a weird one, right? Because if it's not this one, then we don't know when it'll be around, but it also will probably be around. So the value proposition is slightly different than normal, but I would still say, broadly speaking, probably not worth the purchase. We also have the character bundle Arkham Allies for that same $24.99. And it comes with Arkham Knight Batman, Arkham Knight Catwoman, and you get the Dawn of Justice gear for the Batman, Batman's Hooded Cloak, which is normally harder to get, as well as Catwoman's character-specific gear.
Right, signature gear,
yeah. We have the Metropolis pack for its second week, but we don't need to mention that one again. Phantom Zone is back for 2 more weeks. We have a double XP weekend coming
What's the holiday? What is this week?
I don't know. There is, it is a long weekend in Canada, though. It's just like a civic holiday, though. I think it's like an unlabeled civic holiday. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I don't think they're Canadian, though. I feel like there should be a bigger North American holiday associated with it.
Yeah, I know. Maybe it's a thing in America, though, and they just give it to Canada, and that's why it's unlabeled in Canada, because they don't want to say, this is just because they have it in America, and our economies and cultures are so tied together, you know? Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Deadshot, Wonder Woman, and Static. This coming weekend's should be Zatanna, Flash, and Solomon Grundy. And there is a link in the description to a Reddit thread from Devlin16 that goes through the breakthrough cycle if you want to check it out yourself.
Right. So as far as current glitches go, we go into more detail every time something significant changes, which did not happen this week. However, even if nothing changes, we still do a more detailed review once a month, the first week of every month, and that's today.
It's the first of the month. It's the 1st of August.
Yeah, now if you're super impatient, you didn't have to wait for this. You can also see a video tutorial for every working glitch in our playlist, Current Working Glitches, linked in the description of this video and the eye in the top right corner. However, when we do this sort of quick review, sometimes we'll put an emphasis that may not be in the videos to point out things that you need to watch out for and how things, little minor things that might be relevant.
Yeah, so we have tested and confirmed that the challenge reset glitch is working on this week's Earth 2 Hawkgirl, but I guess that I'm kind of saying it out of order.
You're jumping ahead.
I'm jumping around. Okay. So anyways, starting off with the not working glitches, stuff that you might be looking for that is not available. There's no working glitch for power credits. In season 6, episode 9 of our Q&A, we sort of talked about a glitch that was being talked about more at the time. I'm not even sure if it's working at this point, but there was a 2-device glitch that we don't recommend anybody using just because being signed in simultaneously on 2 accounts is a lot riskier. In terms of other stuff that you might want to do that you can't, there's no glitch for getting repeated past multiplayer season rewards. There's nothing for getting early multiplayer season rewards in a good way. It seems like every once in a while people get it early by accident, and it usually screws you over because you get worse rewards than you actually earn later. And there is no glitch to get through the Phantom Zone particularly quickly, but you can do it really fast.
Like we did.
Good strategy.
Yeah. We've got some speed runs.
Yeah. There is no glitch to let you skip watching the ads anymore and still get the energy from it like there used to be. But I guess you can still time shift for energy.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Yes. So working glitches. Glitch that lets you play Phantom Zone repeatedly is working. As we mentioned in the glitch video, the greatest value may be in avoiding the 50 nth metal that it costs for the 2 replays that you normally get, since it takes a lot of time to play it through completely 3 times on elite level.
Yeah.
The challenge reset method that requires Google Play Cloud Save is working. It's confirmed on the current Earth 2 Hawkgirl challenge. And just remember, these 2 glitches for Phantom Zone and for the challenge, they are basically the same glitch. So when you remove progress from one, you're removing progress from the other. Usually what you really have to be careful is if you're playing the elite, Chris elite crystals, the Phantom Zone is harder, or it just takes more work and more time to do the progress. So just pay attention when you're when you're resetting the progress on one thing, that you're okay with resetting the progress on the other, because there's nothing more frustrating thinking you're doing something to help yourself and instead you're
resetting your progress.
Yeah.
We also have a comment in the description from Tanmay Kakde, who was a viewer with advice on if you are on a version of Android that requires you to re-download a lot of data every time when you are clearing your app data, you can instead just move files around and then still, clear the data and have it again afterwards. It just requires you to have extra space on your device instead of extra data or internet, which for I think most devices would be faster, and also for people who are on data might be cheaper.
Yep.
The breakthrough glitch to let you play it repeatedly is still working, as well as the airplane mode /refund glitch. That's good for packs with random drops and last laugh tickets. It doesn't work for things that require an internet connection, which means that it does not work in the Phantom Zone.
Yeah.
And we also recommend against doing a variation of this where you switch between accounts instead of clearing app data. In the same way that being signed into one account on two devices at once is unsafe, signing back and forth between different accounts on the same device really quickly and trying to, take advantage of what that does to your data.
When you're not logged in, it can mess up.
Can mess stuff up.
We call it account bleeding. For all the different things that we've tried to name in a way that's, intuitively obvious, this is the one thing that stuck. Lots of other things we've tried, but when we try to name gear based on
people don't like it, but people will say account bleeding.
Yeah, but people are saying account bleeding, which is kind of neat. Yeah.
Okay. Time shifting still works in Android for unlimited survivor play and energy recharges, as I mentioned earlier. Just important to note, return your clock back to normal before you finish. It might mess with sort of daily reward cycles and stuff like that.
Yeah, so when people are complaining that the challenge isn't showing up when it's supposed to and the Phantom Zone isn't showing up when it's supposed to, that's probably the culprit.
Yeah. And last but not least, in between not working and working glitches, we have the promotion glitch where you can promote characters that are still locked. It hasn't had the right conditions since update 2.14, so it's not testable, not usable, but we keep it here on a technicality, and you can't do anything to stop us. Except there is one thing you can do to stop us. If you support us on Patreon at $20 a month and specifically request it, we will stop saying it once a month. And that's what your $20 will buy you, but nobody will do that. Right. Open standing offer though, if you really want to, stick it to us for some reason by giving us money, then we can be bought. We are very bribable. Anyways.
Parts of us can be bought.
Yeah, fair enough. And speaking of patrons, I would like to give a huge thank you to our lovely patrons on Patreon who aren't even bribing us to do stuff that we don't want to do. They're actually just supporting us and being wonderful people
and super generous.
Yeah, who make me feel better about making videos, right? Yeah. And I am continually thankful and surprised that we have cool people who will kick us a couple bucks just because they like us. So that's a huge thank you to Michael Devries, Irvin Ruiz, Hoshi 127, Nora Klimek, and Paolo-Cesar-Pablo-Juan supporting us on the credited level, as well as 5x5 supporting us on the gratitude level. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Komoda.